Land, Air, Water Bureau.
Brothers and sisters, we have another testimonial here coming out of the Connecticut territory. We got a brother here on the line who shall remain anonymous for these purposes to share his testimony on some of the experiences that he's been successful at with Status Ascension at Land, Air, Water Bureau. Peace, brother. You there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, brother.
All right, peace. So you can just go right into it. You can start where you want. You know, we got some good things for the people today. Why don't we start with the with what happened with the newspaper? For those who don't know, part of the process of Status Ascension definitely involves a declaration of nationality. The proper way, though, the most effective way, though, where it can't be denied by anyone ever. As a matter of fact, the way that we're doing it, the clients, when they go back and check inside of these public notices databases, are having all of the foreclosure properties and tax deed properties come up on the search on the assumed name, for those who know that terminology. So in pursuit of doing the same, our brother here today encountered, some opposition, some agents, and here's his testimony on what he encountered. I'll let you take it from there, brother.
Okay, thank you. On this process, I went through many obstacles. At the same time, I stay resilient to what's needed to be done. But upon this process with the legal notice, the declaration of the nationality through the newspapers, they actually was trying to deny that process. They was trying to stop me that actual service. They was saying that I needed permission from a judge. They was like, "Oh, we can't do this." Did a judge? Do you have a letter from a judge? And did your attorney call in from you after the ruling from a judge? And I was like, "No, ain't no attorney from nothing. This is me putting this in. I don't need no permission." I said, "Why do I need a permission from a judge? What case is going on? Is it a civil case going on? Or is this a criminal? What's going on? Why do I need permission from a judge?" So the lady, she didn't answer that. She made a big deal of transferring me to somebody else. And somebody else came and beat around the bush. But meanwhile, they dragging. They was dragging and making excuses and wasn't answering my calls. So I had to start calling in from different phone numbers. And anyway, it just roundabout way. How long did that occur? That process occurred for about, because I had tried a couple times before actually tying in with you, and you showed me the actual proper way. But this probably was like a month of them beating around the bush, because me at the time I didn't know how to properly stand on what I needed to stand on, but I kept calling them, and they kept curving me. They kept curving me, so to speak. But then when I actually hooked with you, and you actually you showed me exactly how to assert exactly what I needed to assert. So now the same people, when I got with ASHMUSA, the same exact people, the same the name of their actual company is, just for the record.
No, we don't put that information out there, good brother. We don't.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
If you say it, all we would do is scrub it.
Okay, sorry about that. I ain't even going to. No problem.
Yeah, it is private. We keep it private. It's okay.
Say no more. It's the same company. I'm gonna say that I've been dealing with. They've been curving me back and forth. The same people out of the same media. They actually, when I actually put it the proper way, they actually contacted me and asked me. Hold up. Let me rewind this a little bit. Because they was curving me again. We went to a different company that was it was like a sub company to go through them. So when they came back making an excuse about dealing with me, because it was now this information comes from me calling them on the phone and them dodging me to me asking me signing up on a website, and then a third party website transfer my information, and then they responded to that website, responding to me, basing it off of the phone conversation that already I had with them.
So basically, you had to blanket them from different communications and going through all different types of mediums to communicate with them to get this accomplished.
Yeah, and they still was trying not to. So the reason that they did is because of the fact that the paper had to draw up and let them know that I was going to put a lawsuit. You know, when I talk with you and you just let me know of certain rights and how to actually assert certain things. And once I did do that and I asserted it and I put it in its proper context, that's when they got to me and they acted like if they never curved me. Or they never was trying to stop the process. Once they realized like, oh, he about to sue us for $100 million. Okay, well, listen.
$100 million. That's right. Let the people know. Let the people know that it's under their full commercial liability.
Yep, I put that in. Matter of fact, I wish I had the exact. Dang.
Put it in their face, showing them how they're in error.
Yep. Put it in their face, show them how they was in error,
and put $100 million on it. Talk is cheap.
All of a sudden, they got so cooperative. Hey, so they
right.
They start contacting me directly, they kind of was telling on each other. One of them contacted me and told me who do I actually call and talk to direct. And when I called her, she was waiting on my call, and you know, she was so nice. But when I talked to her before, she didn't even never let me get everything out that I said, and I try to remember. I was like, "Didn't I talk to you before?" And she curved that too, like, "We here, this now." Or try to make a joke of it, like make a joke, like let's talk about that. But anyway, we handled that. You know, they gave me the pricing. I gave them the actual what I needed them to publish in the paper. Told them when that I needed in there. They asked me for the dates, and then they told me when it was going to run.
Wait! You said something along the lines of them escorting you to a peculiar place in the building. It was kind of like you're on the back phone or something.
I'm so sorry. I left that whole process out.
Yeah,
I left that out. I left out the fact that I actually traveled there to the company. I ain't just only called them. I called them on previous time. Got to the point that I actually traveled there, and they brought me to an area. They said, go up the stairs. It was an area. They got an area to where they had you sitting in a lobby, and then you have to call. It's a red phone. You have to get up and call who you're trying to call on the red phone. And they never came out. They talked to me and told me about who I was supposed to have talked to, and she's not in this building, but on the phone they never said none of this.
You legit said the phone was red?
It was a red phone, yes.
Wasn't a blue phone?
Nah, it wasn't a blue phone.
It wasn't a black phone?
Nah, it wasn't a black phone. It was a red phone.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a red phone. And it's right there in the lobby. It's clear. They got glass everywhere. Like if you look, I look in the office space, but it's glass and it's like a double door. So even if you come through that first door, you still can't get in. But you can see. You can see everybody in their cubicle. Some people have regular offices, but you can see it was all glass. And I was like, wow. They act like they didn't even see me neither. And nobody, everybody was acting like if whatever they was doing was so important, and they didn't even see me. I'm there, boom, boom. I'm looking at people. Some people in one room, you could tell it was like an office room because it was just glass and one big table, and there's a lot of people. They at the table and they watching. It was a film. I guess it was a meeting they had going on or what have you. But yeah.
And you also said that it was who was it on the phone? A boss in another state or something?
Yeah. Yep. They had to. She wasn't even in the state. They had to tell me, oh, you have to call. She ain't even in she in a whole nother state. Then that's when everything started coming around. Like, oh, he's showing up. Yeah, I ain't gonna just keep calling y'all and playing. I know him. Yeah, he's showing up to establishments, and yeah, he You know what I mean? So they got the picture. They got it. And it's like, oh, all right. Now they so nice. They done sent me the article for last week with the ad in the paper. I have one more week. This Friday will be the last week. But they sent me this. March 6th, they sent me a paper. They sent me a paper, you know, and I'm appreciative. I got the actual ad. They got it in the part of the paper of what it says, listed as real estate. It's a part, well, I don't know what every other paper do, but they listed it in real estate and they put it in the back as a legal notice, declaration of nationality.
You said real estate, right?
And real estate, yeah.
That was their decision, right?
Yeah, that was their decision.
Okay.
Yep, and that's
please, people, please look up the definition of real estate in your nearest law dictionary and understand what's happening here. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just very appreciative to everything, the good and you know and different. I ain't gonna say bad, but just figuring out. And once they realize that you ain't going nowhere, you know, the process gets that much easier. They try to discourage you and they want you to not be, you know, be as determined and standing on your square. But they definitely gonna try you. They're gonna try you many times over, because they know more than we know what's at stake, the value of really what's at stake, or what's about to happen when you actually get your full status ascension. So they know. So they're not trying to let that go. They're not trying to have that.
Our people must realize what's at stake to understand what the opponent's agenda is.
Yes.
To understand what type of war is being waged on the people. And what can happen once it's challenged and asserted correctly.
That's deep. That's deep. Cause like, yeah, that's more than deep. Cause like I was explaining to you, it's a lot of stuff that I go as hard as my understanding. When I understand something, I even go hard sometimes when I don't understand it. Just if I trust you enough, and you saying, yo, this is this, and I'm going hard, that's what it is. I'll find out down the line full, you know, understanding of certain things. But like I said, well, by saying that, we all ain't like that. We all ain't like that. And sometimes if a person lied to us, it kind of discourages. But me, I wasn't always like this, but majority of my life I was. I started using that as fuel. Like the nose started making me stronger. Man, all right, well, I used to start taking those as in, what am I gonna learn from it? No, they about to say no, but let me get what I didn't have already out of this time. They gonna say it, and building from that.
People need to get over that fear of rejection. People are scared of heights. They're scared to be successful. They're scared to know what it's like to be free. Everyone can complain. Talk is cheap. Get off of your behind, lace up your bootstraps, and go into these buildings like the brother is demonstrating. What can happen?
Fact.
It's supposed to. In God we trust.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Because meanwhile, we have others who are running into similar situations and they get discouraged. That's why the society is in chaos right now.
Yeah, they're trying to scare people to where they want them to stay. Yep.
You're too busy being entertained. Meanwhile, the society is crumbling right around you.
Well, it's a fact. You know?
There are people with clandestine operations as a result of the coup and the Reconstruction Acts who have an ulterior motive against the people. They are imposing their agenda on people without legitimacy of law.
Fact.
their own prejudices they're imposing as if it has anything to do with law until you make the proper claims. So let's talk about this case you are also just successful at.
Okay.
Because it's interesting things happening there as well on how that so-called judge came down on what was ultimately the dismissal. If you can touch on that a bit with whatever you feel like sharing with the people, it would be great as well.
Okay, no problem. What it was, almost 2 years ago, I was at a friend of my house. Actually, we was at a diner, me, him, and the son. Then from a diner, the diner was probably less than 200 feet from his house. We left there, went to his house. We was in the back of his house, in the back of a gazebo, just sitting there talking, chopping it up. So his cousin came, and we talked for a few when we left. He left, I left. So they pulled me over. When I say they, I'm speaking of the Narcotic Tactical Division. They pulled me over, snatched me out my car, broke my headrest, my console, my glove department, and they said that they found some illegal substances. Arrested me. Never read me my rights. Never did none of that. They supposedly was watching us, surveilling us from the diner all the way till. But inside the police report, I find out that they supposedly wasn't. They said they was, but they wasn't. They just so happened to be in there. They wasn't on them after us, but they supposedly heard us in a booth talking of a transaction that was supposed to, so to speak, was supposed to happen. Then they so-called followers and watchers, and based on their own admission, they state that they never seen a transaction. Anyway, they arrest us and all this is going down. So in the process of being arrested, going to court for almost 2 years. In a 2-year process, they're telling me all this and what they did and what they want to offer. And I'm like, man, I'm not taking nothing. They never, and also inside the police report, they also stated that I failed to put a signal on. And then, by law, if you want to talk about law, that's no reason for you to snatch somebody out their car. My car was registered and insured and I had license. But they did all this. And they wrote it. They wrote all this in the paper as well. So, but while I was going to court, as going to court, I reached out to a few people, as well as having my actual understanding of the law, the knowledge that I had. So I was actually presenting, not representing, I was presenting myself. And it's certain things that I put affidavits in, put them on a record. I put them into the case. There's a lot of things that I was standing on in court. While I was going to court, they stated a whole lot of things. I'm just actually challenging jurisdiction the whole time. So I'm challenging jurisdiction. A few Morris brothers put me on to certain things to stand on. And I added all this stuff into my case. So as time going on, they talking about we putting you on a trial docket. Meanwhile, I'm challenging, how do you have permission over me? How do you have jurisdiction over me? So time went on. I'm never arguing the case or nothing. I'm just standing on, y'all don't got a right to be doing none of this. Putting certain paperwork in. And then out the clear blue sky, one day I'm going to court. That they had what they call a standby counsel, which is an attorney that stands next to you, but she don't give you it ain't like she's your attorney. She just standing there in case you want to ask her a question, you can ask her. But you actually have to present yourself and basically stand on your square, what you're talking about, make sense to the court. And they got to make sure that you can articulate yourself and make sure that you can comprehend what they're saying. And basically, they got a hearing for that too. The judge swear you in, make sure that you have understanding, and you don't need representation from an attorney or a public defender, which I did. And he agreed that I was competent enough to present my case. And I just stood on that. And then
so the case, what were you charged with allegedly, or the entity?
The entity was allegedly charged with possession of with such they said it tested for positive for high, and in the process of that, we're going back and forth to court. I came to court late one time. They gave me a rearrest, and they raised my bond at $200,000. I had to make $200,000 out of bond because I was late and I didn't even miss court. I was late. The judge told me, actually, they didn't let me go back in chambers, but an attorney went back in chambers and let them know that I was out there. And the judge told me to fill out a motion to vacate the rearrest, which I even got in I got all of that. All of the papers that was into the case, I got them all. I put that motion in, and he just still denied me. He denied me, and I want to say this was April 29th of last year, and he put the warrant out.
So the same judge that asked you to file the motion is the same one that dismissed it.
No, it's not the same one that dismissed it, because there was so many they didn't even want my case. I come now that I probably better understand it. I understand what they was doing. They didn't want my case because they realized I wasn't going nowhere. So they just kept. I probably dealt with in almost 2 years, probably like 8, 9 different judges. They just kept pushing me around at all different courts. Oh, this judge didn't come. Oh, sending me to this court. You in A court today. You in D court today. You in B court today. You in C court today. You upstairs. Like, I've been going to court for almost 2 years. So they just been. Normally, that ain't the process. The process is you go to arraignment court, and if you ain't dealing with the situation in that court, they'll send you to the disposition court.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you stay there. You don't go to nowhere else.
Right.
You can't stay there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In my case,
I'm sure all who's listening know that that's not normal. Who's ever been to court, that's absolutely not normal.
Yeah. In my case, they were just sending me, and I got the documentation of all the courtrooms that they sent me. Like, I got it in my room. I don't have it on in front of me, but they sent me to so many different courtrooms. It's crazy. Like, I went to A, B, C, D, and they sent me upstairs one time. Yeah, and there was different judges, man. It just was crazy. But anyway, I put the proper paperwork in, and I didn't never argue the case because I never was there to argue the case. I was there to let them know that, yo, you don't have jurisdiction over it. Period. You don't. And I was challenging the prosecutor for having jurisdiction. The prosecutor tried to say that the judge had. One judge even also said that she had jurisdiction and she ruled for the case to move forward. And I was like, well, Your Honor, I broke down the law that, when jurisdiction is challenged, the case can't go nowhere until jurisdiction is proven. So one thing I didn't know, I guess, is how long they could drag that out. But what I do know is the fact that
they could drag it all the way out to trial.
Yeah, and they kept saying that, but I was on trial. I was supposed to be going to trial for over a year, but they keep sending me to regular court. But now, when I did the process with you, and you taught me about the actual mail-in in that situation, because honestly, I think that was what it was. I don't know, because they didn't tell me that.
Brother, they will never tell you how they got it. They just keep steamrolling you.
Yeah.
That's for you to figure out. You the one challenging it. You figure out. So, anyone who's challenging jurisdiction has to assert that why they don't have it. It's up to you to prove it, that it's not there. So you can challenge it all day. Forget challenging it. How about you prove that they don't have it? That's what people lacking at.
That's what happened, because now, when before I proved it, I've been challenging it. And they just kept having me going back and forth to court. For my belief is, that's what really showed them that, oh, y'all really don't got jurisdiction. That's just from me. But they didn't say nothing. All of a sudden, when I go back to court, they talking about, oh, we're going to annihilate today. And I objected to them annihilating it. And I was like, nah, y'all dismissing this today. And then they agreed. They dismissed it.
Cordial to presence of defendant. Motion by the state in case C16-00451.
Yes, to dismiss with prejudice.
There's an oral motion by the state to dismiss this case with prejudice that will be granted by the court. So ordered, Mr. This case has been dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be re-brought in the future. Are we doing in court? Yes, we do. If you'll have a seat, they'll prepare your order of dismissal. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. You may have a seat and they'll serve you with your order of dismissal. Next case.
So, from my understanding, I don't, because they didn't agree. They didn't say what. But I already had been challenged jurisdiction, but now I wasn't doing business with them no more. I believe that's what did it. I'm still not sure if that's what did it.
Yes, that's a huge piece, brother. People coming in to Status Ascension is 9 phases, just like 9 months in the womb, because you legitimately are being born again. This is why, for those who don't know, you won't know. At the beginning of all proceedings, they announce before the court the defendant, last known address, and they read it into the record. Once they lock in with latches on that location, they have jurisdiction. So, brothers and sisters, please stop wasting your time going into court challenging jurisdiction, and all they do is ask, okay, what's your address?
Right. That's a fact. And then you tell them your address. Wow.
Facts.
Unbelievable.
Congratulations on that. Again, so I also wanted to touch on the dismissal document, how they came down with the dismissal when they made reference to you. What did they put on the page where a name would normally appear?
Oh yeah, they drew they didn't put my name, they drew pyramids. They drew triangles. Every time that they actually spoke about me, it was never my name. They put it was another pyramid.
As a matter of fact, to be clear, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. Do you mind if we put that up? I'm gonna, blur out your self-identifying information and all of that, but they need to see how this judge came down on that dismissal.
Yeah, nah, you do what you said. You do whatever, however you want to do it. Because more importantly, as more as we need this information and we don't have it. And we need for them to know that it's real. Like, this is real life. This is what's happening. And this is how they manipulate us.
That's precisely why we want to publish it, because there's still people not even aware of the great works that's happening in the private.
Yeah.
Because if they knew better, they do better.
That's a fact. I'm proof of it. Like I was saying, I was dealing with the case for a while. And when I was talking about the Moors I was dealing with, one of them was Josh Bay. Shout out to the Moor. The first time I dealt with him, the first time I talked to him, he told me the things that he can help me with, but the first thing he asserted, first thing he stood on was like, yo, I know a host of different things, but excuse me, one thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to deal with ASHMUSA. So he broke it down to me, and normally people don't do that. They don't, off the rip, they're not telling you, okay, yeah, if you're coming to them for a service, they're not telling you that somebody else have a better service than them, And I was like, wow, I'm very appreciative. He told me that he would do whatever he can do for me, but he said basically it was an imperative that I got with the Land, Air, Water Bureau. He told me to go to the website. He told me to seek out a consultation, and he said that he kind of mandated that I do this. And I know I ain't never met nobody that actually did that yet, but him. That never happened to me in my life. And I appreciate the brother, and I commend him for what he stands for and what he stand on.
And we reciprocate the same. Shouts out to him. And we are also newly acquainted, and that is very honorable, and it speaks volume for the brother. So may he rise in power. There it is. So hopefully that inspires someone and clear up some understandings, understandings, and overstandings for the people. Those who have ears, let them hear. Those who have eyes, let them see.